Tonight, as you close your eyes and let your thoughts drift away, imagine yourself standing at the edge of a wide, endless desert. The sun has just finished its long journey across the sky. Its final light rests gently over the dunes, soft and golden, like a memory of warmth that doesn't want to fade. The heat that once filled the air now begins to loosen, to sigh, to disappear into the calm of evening. The sand beneath your feet is still warm, holding the last breath of the day. You can feel it through the soles of your feet, a slow and gentle warmth that feels alive, as if the desert itself is a heartbeat. The wind moves in small whispers, carrying grains of sand that sparkle faintly in the fading light. It is quiet here, so quiet that even your breathing becomes part of the landscape. The air begins to cool. Every moment feels slower now. The colors of the sky melt together, orange into rose, rose into violet, violet into a deep calm blue. Above the far hills, a soft haze of light lingers, then slowly sinks into shadow. It feels as though the desert is taking a deep breath, preparing to rest. In this stillness, there's a kind of peace that exists nowhere else. You can almost hear the silence settle, like dust finding its place after a long day. The world no longer rushes. It simply is vast, patient, waiting for the stars to return. Far away, the last echoes of day drift over the horizon. A bird glides quietly back to its nest, its wings cutting through the air without sound. The smell of warm sand and dry earth fills the evening. The desert holds every scent gently, as if protecting them until morning. You sit down upon the cooling sand. Beneath your fingers, you can feel the texture, soft yet strong, smooth yet shifting. The tiny grains move easily, flowing like time itself. The ground breathes out its heat in slow, invisible waves that wrap around you, like the last kind embrace of daylight. As the light fades, your mind begins to quiet too. Thoughts drift in and out, like small clouds across an open sky. You do not need to hold them. You can let them pass, and the silence between them becomes wider and softer. The horizon begins to blur. The air feels lighter now, touched by the first promise of night. The wind strokes your skin with cool fingers. The world around you seems to hum, very faintly, as though the earth is singing a song only the heart can hear. Somewhere beyond the dunes, a small creature stays, the faint rustle of paws on sand, then nothing more. Even the animals move slowly now, careful not to disturb the calm that has fallen over everything. The desert at night is a temple of stillness, and you are its guest. The colors fade into shadow, but the peace grows deeper. The world has entered that space between day and night, not dark yet, not bright anymore. It is a moment when everything pauses, when the desert holds its breath. The sky above begins to darken into indigo. A single star appears, trembling slightly as if unsure of its place, then another and another. The first cool air of night brushes past your face. You inhale, slowly, and it feels pure and new, untouched by the noise of the day. You can feel your body becoming lighter, softer, as though the quiet itself is weight, a gentle weight that rests upon your shoulders, guiding you towards stillness. The desert cradles you in its silence. The last warmth of sunlight fades completely, replaced by the gentle calm of night. Hey, in this quiet beginning, there is no rush to sleep, only the slow surrender to peace. The sky deepens, the stars multiply, and every breath carries you further into calm. Now, the world around you grows softer, quieter, more distant. The wind hums a low lullaby across the sand. The air tastes cool and clean. You are safe here. You are warm enough, calm enough, ready to drift with the rhythm of the earth itself. And as the desert night unfolds around you, vast and endless, you feel yourself falling gently, not down, but inward, toward a deeper stillness that welcomes you with open arms. Now, let yourself drift deeper into rest and sleep. The sun drifts lower, touching the rim of the dunes with its final warmth. Its light stretches long and thin across the sand, painting every grain in soft gold. The world glows as if it is breathing for the last time before night. You can almost feel the light changing, not fading, but melting, blending into softer colors that float through the air like silk. The dunes catch the glow and hold it, curves shining gently like warm skin beneath a quiet sky. The heat that once burned now feels gentle, sleepy, slow. The light becomes softer, turning the edges of everything into dream shapes. Nothing feels sharp now. The world begins to blur in beauty. As the sun lowers, it spills color across the sky. First a pale orange, then rose, then a tender violet that grows deeper with every breath. These colors are not separate. They melt into one another, like a watercolor painting touched by a slow hand. You could watch it forever and never see the same shade twice. This magic is a language of light. When the sun begins to sink, its rays must travel through more of the Earth's air. The thicker air bends and scatters a blue light, leaving behind the warm colors, orange, pink, red, the colors that comfort the heart. It's a soft science that feels more like poetry than physics. The air becomes an artist, shaping the sky into something gentle and kind. Far away, a few clouds drift quietly above the dunes. The sunlight catches their edges, turning them into glowing ribbons. They move slowly, almost floating in place, as if they too want to rest a little before night comes. Each cloud holds a secret tone of gold that fades the longer you look, until it disappears into lavender twilight. The wind hushes now, soft as a whisper. You can hear the desert settle, the sand shifting, the faint sigh of air cooling against rock. The world is still alive, but it moves in silence. Even time seems slower, softer. The sun takes its time to say goodbye. The horizon glows like a fading ember. The light is no longer bright, only warm and forgiving. The sky above becomes a slow wave of color, each layer deeper than the last. Peach to coral, coral to mauve, mauve to the quiet blue of evening. Every color breathes into the next like a lullaby you can see. A single bird crosses the sky, its wings dark against the last light. It moves without hurry, carried by invisible air. The desert watches in stillness, and you can almost hear the quiet rhythm of wings above the silence. Everything that moves now does so with grace. The sun finally slips behind the tallest dune. The moment is weightless. The sky holds its breath. For a few seconds, the horizon glows like fire behind glass, then dims into the color of peace. The day has ended, but it leaves behind a warmth that stays inside you, deep and calm. You close your eyes for a moment and still see the colors behind your eyelids, orange, pink, violet, floating gently as if painted across your mind. The air feels cool now. The desert exhales. The light has gone, but its memory lingers like a gentle hum in the distance. The first faint star blinks above you. The sky is darker now, smooth and endless, carrying the last blush of day into the quiet sea of night. The desert has changed again, and with it, your breathing slows, matching the rhythm of the world as it prepares to rest. Now, let yourself drift deeper into rest and sleep. The warmth of the day fades, leaving only a soft echo behind. The desert begins to breathe again. From somewhere far beyond the dunes, a cool wind stays, gentle at first, then spreading like a sigh across the open land. It moves low and slow, gliding over the sand, slipping through dry grass and small stones, brushing gently against your skin. You can feel it now, that tender change in the air. The wind is no longer heavy with heat. It feels light, calm, filled with promise. It carries with it the smell of dust, of stone, of sun-baked earth finally finding rest. The desert exhales, and the night takes its first breath. During the day, the sun warms the ground until it glows from within. The air close to the sand becomes hot and begins to rise, floating upward into the wide sky. As the sun disappears, this warm air drifts higher, leaving space for cooler air to fall gently in its place. Nature moves in silence, but it is always in balance, warm and cool, up and down, day and night. You can feel this balance now. The cool air settles around you like a soft blanket made of invisible threads. It moves across your arms, touches your face, and slips into your hair. It feels alive, but kind, the kind of touch that doesn't ask for anything, only comforts. The wind has a rhythm, slow and patient. It glides over the dunes, shaping them grain by grain, but tonight it seems to move just to soothe. You can almost hear it whisper through the desert shrubs, a quiet rustle, a secret song that belongs only to the night. The sound is gentle, like breathing in a dream. The air feels different now. It holds no weight, no heat, only peace. If you close your eyes, you can sense its motion. Cool currents sliding around you, wrapping softly around your body, moving in slow circles like water. Every breath you take feels easier, cooler, cleaner. The air enters your lungs and leaves behind a calm that spreads through your chest like ripples on still water. High above, the last warmth from the day drifts upward, unseen, joining the cooler sky. The desert floor, once scorching, now releases its final heat in quiet waves that fade into nothing. The air and sand exchange their temperatures like a quiet conversation between friends. They understand each other. They take turns keeping the world in balance. As the night deepens, the wind changes direction ever so slightly, brushing from north. It carries tiny pieces of sound, a distant grain of sand rolling, a soft creak or branch, the faintest hum of life hidden beneath the ground. The desert wind always knows where to go, always gentle, never in a hurry. You breathe with it now. Each inhale brings coolness, each exhale releases a day. You let the rhythm of the air guide your thoughts until they too move slowly, quietly, peacefully. The edges of your awareness soften. The warmth that once clung to your skin has been replaced by the comfort of evening. The desert, wide and silent, becomes a single breath, warm air rising, cool air falling, in perfect harmony. The earth breathes beneath you, and you breathe with it, steady and calm. The wind passes by once more, like a kind hand brushing your cheek before it moves on. The air settles again, still and pure, leaving behind a quiet peace of night. Now, let yourself drift deeper into rest and sleep. As the last glow of the sun fades behind the dunes, the desert begins to wake again, not with noise, but with movement so soft it almost feels like the earth is dreaming. The air is cool now, the colors of night spreading gently across the land, and from the quiet shadows, the hidden life of the desert slowly returns. A tiny lizard moves first. It slips out from beneath a rock still warm from the day. Its body, small and careful, glides across the sand, leaving a delicate pattern behind. Each step is silent. It pauses, feeling the cool air, tasting it with a flick of its tongue. The heat of the day is gone, and the world feels gentle again. The lizard disappears into the folds of a dune, vanishing as easily as a whisper fades in the wind. From somewhere deeper in the shadows, a soft sound stays, the faint crunch of paws pressing into loose sand. A desert fox moves carefully, its body low, its fur brushed with moonlight. Its eyes shine like quiet lamps, reflecting the first stars above. It does not hurry. There's no rush here. Every step is measured, every pause filled with listening. The fox moves with the stillness of one who belongs completely to the night. High above, an owl opens its wings. The feathers catch the air in silence, spreading wide as it rises into the cool sky. It circles once, twice, then glides smoothly across the desert floor. The owl's flight makes no sound at all, not even a whisper. It watches the ground below, patient, graceful, alive. Its call echoes once, far away, soft and low like the voice of the night itself. A beetle crawls from under a dry leaf, slow and shining under the pale moon. Its shell reflects silver light as it moves with quiet purpose. It does not rush, it never has to. The beetle's world is small, yet perfect. Every grain of sand, every shadow, every breeze is part of its rhythm. Around it, the desert hums with unseen life, each creature moving in gentle harmony. If you listen carefully, you can hear the softest sounds, the tiny scrape of a lizard's tail, the brush of fur against rock, the faint rustle of wings. These are not noises of fear or struggle. They are the language of life moving softly through stillness. In the desert night, everything knows its place, its moment, its silence. The moon climbs higher now, silver and full. Its light touches the dunes, turning them into waves of pale gold. The animals move like shadows across a glowing sea. The fox pauses to lift its face to the breeze, catching a scent only it can read. The owl swoops low, then rises again, its wings carving gentle arcs through the air. The beetle disappears beneath a thin crack in the sand. Each creature understands the rhythm of the desert, when to move, when to hide, when to rest. They do not fight the heat or fear the darkness. They live between both, balanced and calm. The night is their friend, the sand their home, the moon their companion. The desert at twilight is not empty. It is alive with quiet beauty. Every heartbeat, every breath, every step is soft and unhurried. The animals live as if time has slowed just for them, and for you, watching, breathing, drifting with them into the peace of the night. The air grows cooler still, and the stars spread wide above. The desert fox finds a patch of shade, the owl glides farther toward the horizon, and the lizard curls beneath a stone. The night continues, gentle and endless, carrying their quiet lives along like music you can barely hear. Now, let yourself drift deeper into rest and sleep. The light of day has fully faded, leaving behind only a faint memory of gold on the far horizon. The desert now lies under a deepening blue, a color that feels endless, like the ocean turned upside down. The first stars begin to appear, tiny sparks that blink gently above the dunes. One, then another still. Each star feels alive, not cold or distant, but warm in its silence, glowing softly in the clean desert air. The sky here is clearer than almost anywhere else on Earth. There are no city lights to blur it, no smoke, no moisture to scatter its shine. The air is pure and still, washed clean by the heat of the day. It is this quiet perfection that makes the stars so sharp, so bright, as if you could reach up and touch them. The night above the desert is not just darkness, it is a great, breathing canvas, painted with light older than memory. You lie back on the cooling sand, feeling the earth beneath you, firm and familiar. Above, the first cluster of stars begins to shimmer, faint and silver. They blink and grow steadier, as though testing the air before shining fully. Slowly, the sky fills. The stars are patient. They do not rush to appear. Each one takes its place, forming patterns that humans have watched for thousands of years, quiet companions in an ancient sky. The reason they shine so bright here is simple, and yet it feels like magic. The desert air holds almost no water. Moisture scatters and bends light, but in this dry world, light travels freely, straight and clear. Every beam that leaves a star millions of miles away reaches your eyes without interruption, crossing empty space, then the thin skin of Earth's atmosphere, until it finds you lying still in the sand. When you see a star, you are seeing the past. The light left that star long ago, sometimes hundreds, sometimes thousands of years ago. The glow that now touches your eyes began its journey before your birth, before anyone you've ever known was born. Some of the stars you see tonight might not even exist anymore. Their light keeps traveling, a final message across time, carrying the memory of their fire through the darkness. You imagine this, beams of light, silent and endless, moving across the universe at unimaginable speed, passing worlds and dust clouds, brushing the edges of comets, slipping through silence until, finally, they find you. It feels like the universe is whispering to you in the only language it knows, light and stillness. More stars appear now, and the sky deepens into black velvet. The Milky Way stretches faintly across it like a river of light, glowing with layers upon layers of distant suns. Some twinkle quickly, as if alive. Some shine steady, calm and patient. You begin to notice the smallest ones too, tiny, faint points that seem to appear and vanish, like breathing. The desert becomes darker, but not lonely. The sand reflects the starlight in soft silver tones. The dunes seem to hold the light within them, glowing gently as though each grain remembers the sun they now borrow from the stars. The horizon fades completely, and the line between earth and sky dissolves. You cannot tell where one ends and the other begins. Everything becomes one: sand, wind, stars, and you. If you listen closely, you can hear the quiet hum of the earth beneath you. The stars, though distant, seem to pulse with that same rhythm. You are part of the same stillness, the same quiet breath that moves through time. The stars are not watching you. They are with you, sharing the moment, shining for no reason other than to exist. The air feels cooler now. The night is complete. You feel it against your skin, soft, weightless, filled with a scent of dust and stillness. Above, the sky seems infinite and yet comforting. You do not feel small beneath it. You feel safe, like a single heartbeat in the endless rhythm of the universe. The stars continue to multiply, their reflections shimmering faintly on the gentle curves of the dunes. The world has become quiet, and time itself feels slower. The night has opened wide, holding you in its calm embrace. And as the starlight touches your face, crossing endless distances just to find you here, you feel yourself glowing too, softly, peacefully, like one more small light among the countless others above. Now, let yourself drift deeper into rest and sleep. The night settles deeper now, and with it comes something even softer than light: silence. It stretches across the desert like an invisible blanket, touching every dune, every stone, every breath. It isn't empty or cold. It feels alive, gentle, complete. The kind of quiet that doesn't ask for attention. The kind that makes you breathe slow without even noticing. In the desert, silence is a shape. It moves like air, smooth and weightless. If you listen carefully, you can hear how deep it goes. There are no crowds, no trees, no rustling leaves or flowing rivers. Only the wind moves, and even it speaks softly, as if afraid to wake the sand. Every sound that does exist, a distant owl, the brush of a small animal's feet, your own slow breathing, feels larger and clearer because the world around it is still. This stillness is more than beauty. It is science too. Sound travels as waves through the air, tiny ripples of motion that move from one molecule to the next. In cities, forests, or near water, the air is full of moisture and echoes. Sound bounces, bends, and mixes, filling every space. But here, in the desert, the air is dry and light. There is almost no water to carry or reflect those waves. The sound fades faster, falling gently into silence. That is why the desert is so quiet. The dryness softens every sound, as if the air itself is made of velvet. The sand absorbs what remains, swallowing footsteps, voices, even the whisper of the wind. It is not an emptiness. It is a peace made of physics, a calm that exists because the world has nothing left to echo. If you were to speak now, your voice would travel only a short distance before dissolving into the night. You could shout, and the sound would still feel small, like a pebble dropped into a wide sea of air. In this vastness, the desert listens more than it answers. It teaches you how sound truly works, how it begins, moves, and disappears. The open space adds to the stillness. With no trees or walls to reflect noise, sound has nowhere to return from. It moves outward, endlessly, until it becomes too faint to hear. The air stretches so wide that even the faintest sounds, a grain of sand tumbling, a tiny insect's wings, vanish into distance before they can reach another ear. The desert seems to hold silence like water in a deep, hidden pool. You lie still and feel it. The quiet is not empty. It is full of small things you cannot hear. The heartbeats of sleeping creatures, the soft movement of the air itself, the pulse of the earth cooling under the stars. All of it exists just beyond sound, wrapped in calm. The science of stillness is the same as the science of space. When there is nothing to block, bounce, or repeat sound, the world becomes calm. It feels like the universe holding its breath, waiting. And in that waiting, you begin to notice your own rhythm, the steady rise and fall of your chest, the faint echo of your heartbeat, the soft rustle of your breath against the air. Everything is slower now. The silence feels like a lullaby made not of music, but of absence, gentle, protective, endless. The desert does not need to speak. It only needs to exist, quiet and complete beneath the stars. As you rest within this stillness, you become part of it. Your thoughts quiet, your body soft, your mind free. The world is silent, and yet it hums with peace. The silence folds around you like a second skin, tender and safe. Now, let yourself drift deeper into rest and sleep. The night deepens, and the air cools with every breath you take. The sand beneath you begins to change too. What once burned beneath the sun's weight now softens, losing its heat grain by grain. The desert cools slowly, like a living thing breathing out after holding its breath all day. The warmth that once lived in the ground drifts upward, fading into the open night. You touch the sand with your hand. It feels warm at first, like a memory of sunlight, but as you move your fingers deeper, the warmth disappears. Coolness greets you there, smooth and calm. The desert has a quiet way of letting go of heat, not quickly, not sharply, but gently, like a whisper fading into silence. This change is nature's simple rhythm, written in science and time. During the day, the sun gives its light and energy to the ground. The sand, though dry and pale, absorbs this light easily. Each tiny grain holds a piece of the sun, storing it through hours of brightness. But when the sun sets, that energy has nowhere to stay. The warmth begins to rise back into the air, slipping away into the darkness above. This is called radiation, not a harsh or frightening word, but a natural gift of balance. The sand releases its warmth in soft, invisible waves, sending it upward toward the sky. The desert does not rush. It cools slowly, steadily, exhaling the heat until all that remains is calm. The air becomes lighter, the ground softer, and the night sweeter. Another kind of quiet science happens at the same time: conduction. Each grain of sand passes its heat to the one beside it, just like hands passing light from palm to palm. The heat travels downward first, into deeper layers, and then rises again, moving from warmer grains to cooler ones until everything settles in harmony. The desert surface cools first, while below, the warmth lingers a little longer, hidden under the skin of the earth. If you stand barefoot on the sand, you can feel this story beneath you. The top layer cool, the layer beneath still holding the last golden breath of day. The contrast is peaceful, soothing, alive. Your feet sink slightly, finding both warmth and coolness at once. It feels as if the desert is sharing its secrets, one soft pulse at a time. Above you, the stars shimmer more brightly now, their light dancing across the dunes. The sand reflects that faint silver glow, tiny grains catching it and sending it back in all directions. The world glows without fire. It is light without heat, beauty without effort. You breathe slowly. The night air carries a scent of cool stone and dry air. The warmth that once clung to your skin begins to fade, replaced by the comfort of freshness. You can feel it against your ankles, your hands, your face, that delicate chill that feels like calm itself. Every grain of sand seems to breathe with you. The desert is no longer harsh or hot. It is soft, balanced, forgiving. It gives back what it borrowed from the sun, and in doing so, becomes whole again. You understand, in a quiet way, that everything in nature is like this: giving, taking, resting. Even the earth knows how to relax. The dunes shift slightly under the breath of the wind, small cascades of sand sliding down their slopes. Each movement makes a faint sigh, like fabric being folded. The cool surface glows gently under the moon. It feels as if the entire desert has fallen asleep, the sand itself dreaming under the stars. You rest your hand once more on the cool ground. The heat is gone now. All that remains is calm, the kind that settles deep inside you. The desert breathes, the night listens, and you are part of it. Peaceful, weightless, safe. Now, let yourself drift deeper into rest and sleep. The desert has its own way of remembering the day. Even long after the sun has vanished, the sand still holds its warmth, quiet and hidden beneath the surface. It is as if the earth itself keeps a memory of light, soft, glowing, alive, and lets it fade only when the night feels ready. Each grain of sand carries a tiny piece of the sun, collected through long hours of brightness. All day, the desert absorbs that endless energy, holding it gently in its skin. The sunlight seeps into every surface, filling the dunes with warmth until they seem to shimmer with gold. When the sky turns pale and the sun begins to slip away, that warmth remains for a while, resting under your feet, patient and calm. It feels almost human, this way the desert remembers. The heat does not leave all at once. It softens, the same way a memory does when time passes. The hot brightness of noon becomes a tender glow of evening, and then the quiet breath of night. The warmth fades, but it never truly disappears. It transforms into calm, the same way strong feelings become peace when we let them rest. The science behind this is simple, yet beautiful. During the day, the sunlight pours down in endless waves of energy. The grains of sand, though tiny, are many, and together they act like small mirrors that drink light instead of reflecting it. They absorb the energy, turning it into heat. Deep beneath the surface, the heat collects, stored in layers, waiting. When the sun sets, that stored warmth begins to return to the air. It rises slowly, drifting upward in invisible ripples. You can feel it if you place your palm near the ground, a soft, steady exhale of the day. This is a desert's quiet conversation with the sky. It gives back what it borrowed, but only after holding it close for a while. The cooling is slow, almost tender. The desert does not rush to let go of the light. It releases it like someone whispering a story they have told 1,000 times, softly, carefully, until nothing remains but silence. The heat becomes a memory, one that lingers long enough to comfort the creatures of the night, warming their paws, their wings, their small hidden homes. If you walk across the dunes now, you can feel this memory beneath you. The top layer is cool, but just below, the warmth still lives. Each step uncovers traces of the day, a reminder of what once was, now fading into rest. The air around you feels balanced, a perfect meeting of the world's two halves, what remains of day and what has become of night. Sometimes, life feels like this too. We carry our own sunlight through the long hours, keeping warmth inside our hearts until the time comes to let it go. And when we finally do, it fades gently, leaving peace in its place. The desert shows us how to surrender, not quickly, not with loss, but with grace. The stars above seem to understand this rhythm. Their cold light touches the sand, mixing with a faint warmth that still rises. For a moment, the desert glows from within, lit both by memory and by distance, the warmth of earth and the chill of the cosmos sharing the same breath. You sit quietly and feel it, the last warmth of the day brushing against the cool night air. It is like two old friends meeting at the edge of time, exchanging a kind smile before parting ways. The heat is leaving, but it leaves love behind, a softness, a calm, a deep and wordless comfort. Now the desert begins to rest completely. The memory of heat sinks into the past, replaced by the tender hush of night. The sand cools, the wind slows, and the silence deepens. You breathe, and in your breath is both warmth and peace, the balance that the world has known forever. Now, let yourself drift deeper into rest and sleep. The last colors of twilight fade like soft paint washed gently from the sky. The golden tones have melted away, and what remains is a deep, slow blue, the color of calm water, a breath of silence. The desert stretches wide and still, and above it, the sky begins to change again, sliding from blue to from violet to a velvet black that feels endless. It happens so slowly you almost don't notice. The air cools, the dunes turn darker, and the first shadows stretch longer, smoother. The stars that appeared as faint silver dots just moments ago now seem brighter, sharper. They shimmer like tiny flames scattered across the heavens. Each one glows with quiet patience, sending its light through the thin, dry air that lets every beam travel clean and clear. The desert sky at night is one of the purest sights in the world. The air here holds little moisture, little dust from faraway places, and no smoke from cities. It is clean, almost transparent. Because of this, light from the stars and moon travels without distortion. It doesn't scatter or fade. It simply arrives, untouched, a pure whisper from across time. That is why, in the desert, the night sky feels closer, like the universe has leaned down to rest beside you. You gaze upward and watch how the color deepens. At first, it is blue, not the bright blue of day, but a gentler, heavier shade, as if the sky itself is growing sleepy. Then, as the sun's last reflections disappear beyond the curve of the earth, that blue cools into violet. The edges of the sky blur, soft and quiet. Soon, the violet darkens until it becomes something richer, not just black, but black with depth, like silk folded over and over again. It is a kind of darkness that glows in its own way, alive with starlight. As your eyes adjust, more and more that hidden world begins to appear. At first, you only see the brightest stars. Then slowly, your pupils widen, letting in more of the faint light around you. It's called dark adaptation, a quiet process your body knows without thought. In the first few minutes, the world still looks gray and dim. But as your eyes adjust, your retinas begin to sense light differently. The rods in your eyes, sensitive to low light, awaken. Color fades from view, replaced by gentle contrast, shadow and glow, dim and bright. The night begins to reveal its true shape. The longer you look, the more alive the darkness becomes. The stars multiply until there are too many to count. Some pulse faintly, some burn steady, and some shimmer like tiny reflections in water. The Milky Way stretches across the desert sky, a faint band of light that seems to breathe. It's made of countless stars, far away yet shining together, a river of ancient fire flowing quietly above. The moon joins them, rising slowly from behind a dune. Its light is soft and silver, touching the sand with a cool glow. Moonlight is sunlight reflected, gentle, filtered, tender. It brushes over the dunes and turns them into waves of pale gold and silver, each one glowing as if lit from within. You can see your own shadow on the ground, faint and ghost-like, moving gently as you breathe. Tiny particles of dust in the air catch that light. Starlight, moonlight, even the faint glow of distant planets, and scattered in every direction. That scattering creates the soft halos you see around bright stars and the hazy glow that makes a horizon seem to shimmer. It is called atmospheric scattering, but it feels more like magic. The air turns light into silk. Every photon that reaches you has traveled through distance, time, and silence, and yet it arrives here, in this moment, just for you. The desert under this light looks otherworldly. The sand, though colorless by day, now glows blue, gray, and pale white, depending on how the light touches it. Each dune casts a soft shadow shaped like water ripples frozen in motion. The ground feels cool, the air still. The only sound is a faint hum of wind far away, blending with the quiet rhythm of your breath. You watch as a violet fade completely, leaving behind pure black sky, not frightening, but endless, soft, like a blanket of space and silence. The stars continue to burn, and the moon moves higher, spreading calm across the land. The desert night is no longer a place to fear or cross. It has become a home, a cradle, a dream. You breathe deeply and feel that same calm inside you. The world has darkened, but the light is still there, quiet, steady, eternal. The sky above holds everything: time, distance, light, silence. It asks for nothing in return. And as you look one last time, you feel small and infinite all at once, a part of the still, glowing desert night, surrounded by stars that have traveled forever just to shine for you. Now, let yourself drift deeper into rest and sleep. The moon rises slowly, almost shyly, from behind the distant dunes. At first, it is only a pale glow, a whisper of silver light stretching across the horizon. Then, little by little, it lifts higher, its round face emerging from the earth like a lantern being lit by invisible hands. The sand catches its glow and reflects it softly, turning gold into silver, warmth into calm. The desert transforms once again, now glowing quietly beneath a sky made of glass and light. The moonlight does not burn. It soothes. It glides across the dunes, painting every curve, every shadow, every ripple with a soft hand. The world becomes gentle beneath it, as though it is being wrapped in silk. The air seems stiller, cooler. The wind has slowed to a sigh. The animals that were awake before now move more carefully, as if the moon's light deserves respect. The moon has always been the desert's companion. It guides travelers, guards the sand, and keeps watch when the world sleeps. Its light is not its own. It is a gift borrowed from the sun. The sunlight travels far through space, touches the moon's silent surface, and reflects back toward the earth. What reaches you now is sunlight softened by distance, filtered by silence, reshaped into peace. When you look closely, you can see that the moon is not smooth. Across its face lie shadows and bright patches, craters and valleys, silent reminders of ancient impacts and time's slow patience. Long ago, rocks from space struck its surface, leaving marks that never fade. There is no wind or water there to wash them away. The moon remembers everything. Every crater is a story, a memory etched into its skin. The light that reaches your eyes now reflects off those same scars. It travels hundreds of thousands of miles through the empty dark, crossing the space between worlds, until it falls gently upon the desert. You see that light is silver, calm, and pure. It glows on the dunes like water frozen in motion. The moon, depending on its place in the sky, changes shape. Sometimes you see only a sliver, a thin crescent like the edge of a smile. Sometimes half of it shines, balancing day and night. And sometimes, like tonight, it stands full, round, complete, radiant. These phases are simply the dance of light and shadow. As the moon orbits the earth, sunlight touches it from different angles, and the shape of that light shifts before your eyes. It is a slow rhythm, a cosmic heartbeat that marks the passing of time in gentle circles. In the desert, under this full light, shadows look softer, longer. The dunes glow like frozen waves. The ground shimmers faintly, each grain of sand reflecting the moon as though trying to keep a piece of it. You can almost believe that the light is alive, that it breathes, that it hums. You sit quietly, feeling the moon's cool gaze on your skin. The air has a silver taste now, sharp and clean. The heat of the day is gone, replaced by a strange stillness that feels endless. The desert stretches before you, soft shapes of light and shadow, glowing edges, soft curves. It is a world of silence and reflection. Somewhere far away, a fox pauses to look up. The moon catches in its eyes, turning them into small mirrors. A bird glides across the sky, wings glinting like metal. Even the smallest beetle gleams as it moves through the sand, its shell reflecting 1,000 tiny moons. Everything under the sky shares the same light. You look up again, and the moon seems closer now, so close it feels like it could touch your forehead. It watches over the sleeping dunes, the still wind, and you. It has seen every night that ever was, and it will see every night still to come. Its calm is eternal. The desert, the sky, the moon, they all breathe together. Their rhythm is a rhythm of the universe itself, slow, patient, unbroken. You feel it move through you, steady and gentle, reminding you that everything has its time, its day, its night, its return to peace. The silver light wraps around you, soft as a lullaby. You breathe it in, and the world fades into quiet. The sand beneath you cools, the sky above deepens. The moon shines on, silent and sure, as if keeping you safe within its glow. Now, let yourself drift deeper into rest and sleep. The stars have multiplied across the sky, spreading wider, brighter, deeper. The moon glows behind you now, and above the desert a map of light begins to form, ancient, steady, unchanged through all the time. The constellations rise slowly, one by one, their shapes tracing soft lines across the heavens. There is Orion, the hunter, standing tall near the horizon. His belt of 3 bright stars glimmers clearly, perfectly aligned, as if drawn by a patient hand. The stars that form his shoulders and feet burn faintly red and blue, each one a different temperature, each one a sun of its own, far beyond imagining. For centuries, travelers have looked up to find Orion, letting his belt guide their eyes east to west across the endless sand. Near him, the constellation Taurus spreads its horn through the dark. The bright red star Aldebaran blinks softly, warm like an ember. Long ago, desert wanderers believed it to be a guardian of the horizon, a light to watch over them in the night. Its glow feels alive, a heartbeat in the sky. Farther still, the Pleiades cluster shimmers like dust sprinkled across black silk, a gathering of tiny lights that seem to move together. Some call them the Seven Sisters, small, delicate stars huddled in a tight embrace. Their light is faint, but it carries through the desert air with perfect clarity, reaching you without resistance. The dry air, empty of moisture, lets every photon travel straight and true. The desert sky is a mirror to eternity. Above all this, the Milky Way stretches like a river of pale fire. It spills across the heavens, bending and curving above the dunes. Each glow you see is not a single star but thousands, layered so thick that their light becomes a mist. In truth, it is the heart of our galaxy, billions of stars woven together, their light so ancient it began its journey before any human ever looked up to see it. When you gaze at it, you are looking into history, light that left its source long before deserts even formed, before oceans found their shapes. That light crossed the cold emptiness of space to meet your eyes here, tonight, above this quiet sea of sand. For travelers long ago, this sky was more than beauty. It was a map, with no roads, no landmarks, and no walls to guide them. They turned to the stars. Orion led them to water. The North Star held them to their course. The Pleiades marked the changing seasons, telling them when to move, when to rest, when the winds would shift. Each constellation was a compass, each light a friend. Imagine them now, cloaked riders moving through darkness, their footsteps silent on the dunes, their eyes lifted to the same stars you see now. The desert stretched before them, but they were never truly lost. The stars spoke to them in quiet ways, showing direction not in words, but in light. Even now, you can feel that ancient guidance. The constellations do not speak, yet their presence feels like a promise, that no matter how wide the world, there's always something constant to follow, something eternal to trust. The air grows cooler. The sand beneath you glows faintly in the moonlight. The constellations turn slowly, keeping their silent watch. They do not fade, they do not hurry. The desert, the stars, the sky, all move together, as they always have. You close your eyes for a moment, and you can still see the patterns behind your eyelids, Orion's belt, Taurus's red eye, the silver river of the Milky Way flowing endlessly above. The stars do not need to be seen to be felt. Their calm, their rhythm, their distant peace lives inside you too. The desert breathes under them, vast and still. The constellations shine above, patient and sure, leading the night onward. Now, let yourself drift deeper into rest and sleep. The night sky deepens into perfect stillness. The air feels weightless now, the stars steady and endless above the dunes. Then, without warning, a flash cuts through the darkness, thin, silver, and swift. It moves so fast it feels like a breath of light, a secret whispered across the heavens. A meteor, quiet and graceful, burning for only a heartbeat before it fades into memory. You keep your eyes on the sky. Another one follows, faint, delicate, glowing white as it falls. Then another, brighter this time, trailing a long ribbon of gold that melts into the night. The stars seem alive now, not fixed or frozen, but moving, breathing, crossing paths above you. Each streak feels like a thought made visible, a wish set free. These falling stars are not truly stars at all, but small pieces of space dust, fragments left behind by comets and ancient rocks drifting through the solar system. They travel for ages, silent and unseen, until they finally touch the edge of Earth's atmosphere. There, they meet the air for the first time. The speed is so great, the air so dense, that the dust begins to burn, glowing bright for just a second before it disappears. The glow you see is not fire like a flame. It's light created by heat and motion, by friction between sky and stone. Each meteor is no larger than a grain of sand, yet in its brief fall, it shines like a jewel. It is a small reminder how much beauty can come from the smallest things, how even dust, when it meets the air just right, can become a moment of wonder. You imagine them now, thousands of tiny travelers, drifting through space, carried by invisible winds of gravity and time. They cross orbits, wander through silence, then find their way here, lighting the desert sky with quiet grace. The air above you becomes a gateway between Earth and the cosmos, a bridge where dust and atmosphere meet and speak through light. In some places, meteor showers appear like rain, dozens of streaks falling every few minutes, each one fading before you can blink. The desert, with its wide horizon and clear air, becomes the perfect place to watch them. There is no noise, no distraction, only the soft sigh of wind, the coolness of sand, and the glowing lines that vanish into forever. You lie back on the cool ground, watching them appear and disappear. The sky feels alive, like it's telling an old story in a language made of sparks. Every streak of light feels personal, as if it's meant for you, a sign, a message, a quiet reminder how vast and kind the universe can be. Sometimes, a meteor burns brighter than the rest, leaving behind a faint glow that lingers for several seconds. It paints the darkness with its memory before dissolving. The air holds that glow for a moment, like the echo of a song that still hums even after the last note fades. It is strange and beautiful to think that these lights began their journey long before you were born, that what you see now is a final moment of a story that started millions of miles away. The light enters your eyes, soft and pure, carrying with it a piece of the cosmos. For that single instant, you and the universe are connected. The wind brushes across your skin again, cooler now, carrying the scent of the sand. The dunes around you shimmer faintly under the starlight, each curve touched by silver. A meteor flashes once more, quick and bright, and you breathe with it, in as it appears, out as it fades. Above, the stars remain still, watching. The sky glows faintly where the meteors have passed, like quiet ripples left on the surface of time. You feel small beneath it all, but in the best way, part of something vast, peaceful, eternal. The night does not end, it unfolds. You close your eyes for a moment and can still see the trails of light behind them, glowing softly in your mind. They drift like slow dreams through the dark, fading gently, never hurried, never lost. The desert holds its silence. The stars burn steady. The dust of space continues to fall, each grain shining, then vanishing, a quiet promise that even endings can be beautiful. Now, let yourself drift deeper into rest and sleep. The silence of the desert never truly stands alone. Beneath it lives a soft, hidden music. Sounds so small, so gentle, they seem to breathe with the night itself. If you listen closely, without trying too hard, you begin to hear them. Quiet pieces of life moving through stillness. Somewhere nearby, an owl spreads its wings. The sound is only a whisper, a slow pull of air through feathers as it rises into the night. Its wings cut through the darkness without effort, steady and sure. A faint rush follows as it glides past, and then nothing, only silence again, wide and deep. The owl calls once, soft and low, a note that fades before it can echo. It's a sound made not to wake, but to remind the night that it is alive. Closer to the ground, a cricket begins to sing. Its song is small but patient, a simple rhythm that fills the air like a heartbeat. The sound bounces off the sand and fades into the distance, never loud, never sharp, just a gentle vibration that seems to belong to the earth itself. One cricket stops, another begins, their songs overlapping in a kind of quiet conversation. Each one keeps time with the stars. A tiny beetle moves nearby, its shell brushing against grains of sand. The noise is faint, like the soft slide of silk between fingers. Every motion, every touch, becomes sound here, not loud enough to disturb the stillness, but enough to remind you that silence isn't empty. It's full of life, just slower, smaller, hidden between heartbeats. The wind adds its own notes. It moves softly through dry grass and over the dunes, carrying whispers from far away. Sometimes it hums, sometimes it sighs, sometimes it only brushes against the rocks like a breath too light to hold. Each wave of air brings something different. The scent of cool sand, the sound of a lizard's tail flicking, the rustle of a fox passing unseen. In the desert, every sound has purpose. Nothing is wasted. The owl hunts. The crickets sing for warmth and company. The wind moves to cool the ground. Even the sand shifts when the air changes, its motion a quiet rearranging of the earth. Yet, through all these tiny sounds, the silence remains larger, not broken, not replaced, but wrapped around everything like a soft blanket. You begin to understand that stillness is not the absence of sound, but its balance. The desert holds its sounds the way the sea holds waves, each one gentle, measured, returning to calm. Every small noise carries a rhythm, a pulse that keeps time with the world's breathing. If you close your eyes, you can feel the sounds more than hear them. The air vibrates gently against your skin. The sand shifts faintly beneath your fingers. The far-off call of a bird becomes a ripple in your chest. You are part of the same quiet orchestra, not watching it, but inside it. The longer you listen, the more peaceful it becomes. The owl calls again, softer now. The wind turns slightly and hums a deeper tone. The crickets slow their song. Everything begins to blend into one slow, even rhythm. The desert sings in silence, and you can hear it without effort. The night deepens, and those gentle sounds grow even fainter. One by one, they fade until only the air remains, cool, still, tender. The silence returns, larger than before, resting easily across the land. It doesn't ask to be noticed. It simply exists, steady and kind, like the space between breaths. You breathe with it, calm and unhurried. The tiny noises of life continue, but they feel distant now, softer than sleep itself. The desert listens too, holding everything in perfect balance, motion and rest, sound and silence, life and stillness. Now, let yourself drift deeper into rest and sleep. In the cool breath of night, the desert seems still, but if you look closely, you'll see another kind of life stirring, quiet, patient, and full of secret rhythm. The plants of the desert, though they do not move like animals, are alive with slow dreams. Beneath the silver glow of the moon, they breathe softly, opening, closing, resting, waiting. The cactus stands tall, its body smooth and pale under the starlight. During the day, it holds tight, keeping its moisture hidden deep inside, sealed away from a burning sun. But at night, when the air cools and the wind grows kind, it begins to breathe again. Tiny openings, pores along its skin, relax and open, letting the cactus take in the night air. It drinks quietly from the coolness, trading carbon from the air for a little more life. You cannot see it happening, but it is real, as silent as the stars above. Nearby, small desert flowers wait for the same hour. Some have spent the whole day closed, their petals folded like hands in prayer, protecting their color and their scent from the harsh light. Now, as the temperature falls, they unfold again, gently, slowly, like eyelids opening after a long sleep. Their petals catch the moonlight and shimmer faintly, pale blues, whites, and yellows glowing against the dark sand. These flowers live for the night, blooming when the world is quiet and cool, when bees are gone and moths take their place. The night-blooming cactus opens its great white flower as well. The petals spread wide, soft as silk, releasing a scent that drifts through the desert air, sweet, warm, faintly like fruit. That scent is its song, its way of calling the gentle pollinators of the night. Somewhere, a moth glides near, guided by the fragrance, landing softly upon the bloom. The flower welcomes it, offering nectar, sharing life, and then closes again before dawn. Everything in this quiet world has its own perfect timing. Desert plants understand patience. They have learned to rest when the sun is fierce and to wake when the air turns gentle. They keep their energy safe during the day and spend it only when the darkness returns. It is a different kind of intelligence, not fast, not loud, but ancient and wise. Their roots reach deep into the sand, finding water that hides far below. Their spines and thick skins protect them from heat and hunger. And yet, under the stars, they look soft, peaceful, even tender. If you listen, though no sound will come, you might feel their rhythm, the slow movement of cells, the turning of petals, the invisible work of life continuing through the night. They are not asleep like we are, but they rest, holding stillness like a lullaby. The air around them hums faintly with their quiet presence. When the dawn begins to touch the horizon, the flowers begin to close once more. Their petals fold inward, curling around the sweet air they have gathered, keeping it safe until the next night comes. The cactus closes its tiny pores, sealing its moisture away before the heat returns. It is a ritual, repeated endlessly, a cycle of waking and dreaming, of silence and survival. In the soft light of morning, the desert looks empty again, as if nothing ever happened. But you know better now. You've seen how even in the quiet, life moves in secret ways. The desert never truly sleeps. It only slows down enough for you to notice how gentle a world can be when it has nothing to prove. The plants wait for night to come again, to open their hidden doors, to breathe under the stars. They are the dreamers of the desert, silent, patient, eternal. Now, let yourself drift deeper into rest and sleep. In the cool hush of night, the desert is not as still as it seems. Beneath the stars, the plants begin their slow, secret work, breathing, opening, resting, all in silence. They are the quiet dreamers of the desert, living by the rhythm of light and darkness. The cactus, tall and still by day, begins to soften in the moonlight. During the hot hours, it guards its life tightly, keeping every drop of water hidden deep inside. But when the sun disappears and the air cools, it opens tiny pores along its skin. Through these little windows, it breathes in the night air and takes what it needs, carefully, slowly. You can't see it happening, but it's there, a gentle exchange between the cactus and the dark. Nearby, desert flowers begin to stir. They have waited all day with their petals folded, keeping their colors safe from the fierce sun. Now they open one by one, pale and luminous under the moon. Their petals glow white and pink, catching the silver light like delicate shells. They release their fragrance, soft, sweet, and faintly warm, carried away by the cool breeze. In this calm hour, only the night moths come to visit, floating like small ghosts between blossoms. Somewhere, a great cactus flower unfurls, a single bloom the size of 2 hands, white and pure. It will open only tonight, sharing its perfume with the moon before closing again at dawn. The moth finds it easily, guided by scent alone. It lands gently on the petals, drinking nectar, helping life continue. There is no hurry, no struggle, just nature breathing quietly in its sleep. Every plant here knows the secret of patience. They survive not by rushing, but by waiting. They close when the heat rises, open when the cool returns. They save their energy, their color, their moisture, as if they understand that beauty must rest to stay alive. Even their roots move slowly, stretching through the sand toward hidden water. If you were to listen closely, not with your ears but with your heart, you could almost feel them sighing. The faint shifting of petals, the breath of air between stems, the invisible hum of life moving inside them, all of it too quiet to hear, but easy to feel. The desert seems empty, yet it is full of slow, patient miracles. Soon, the horizon will begin to pale. The first touch of morning light will brush the dunes, and the flowers will fold again. The cactus will close its pores, sealing the cool night inside its body like a treasure. The fragrance will fade, the colors will hide, and everything will look still once more. But the memory of movement remains, the calm dance of life that happens only when no one is watching. The desert's plants live by a rhythm older than memory. They wake when the world sleeps, rest when the day begins, and bloom not for praise, but for peace. Under the quiet stars, they teach a gentle truth, that growth does not always need sound, and beauty does not always need light. Now, let yourself drift deeper into rest and sleep. High above the sleeping dunes, the stars shimmer like scattered jewels. But among them are a few lights that do not flicker, steady, patient, calm. They shine with a quiet certainty, glowing like watchful eyes across the night. These are the planets, ancient wanderers moving slowly through the sea of stars. Mars appears first, low on the horizon, a faint ember in the darkness. Its light glows softly red, warm and alive, like the last coal in a dying fire. It has burned this way for thousands of years, guiding travelers and dreamers alike. In ancient times, people saw it and thought of strength, of longing, of distance. But here, under the quiet desert sky, it feels peaceful, not a symbol of war, but a lonely light drifting through space in silence. The red glow reflects sunlight from far away, light that crossed millions of miles just to reach your eyes tonight. A little higher, Venus shines brighter than all the rest. It is the evening star, the first to rise and often the last to fade. Her glow is steady, pure, almost too bright to believe. She is not a star at all, but a world wrapped in thick clouds that catch sunlight and scatter it back like a mirror. That is why she gleams so clearly, steady and soft, never trembling. If you look closely, you'll see that her light does not twinkle like the others. It is smooth, constant, as if she refuses to be disturbed by the air around her. Stars twinkle because their light must travel through the layers of Earth's atmosphere, bending, shifting, rippling as it passes through moving air. But the planets are closer, and their light spreads out more evenly when it reaches us. It moves through the air with less distortion, less shimmer. That is why they shine with calmness, like quiet hearts in the middle of the universe. Farther to the east, Jupiter glows with a pale gold light. It feels strong, heavy, royal, the largest of all the planets, carrying its many moons like silent companions through space. If you could see them, they would move like small points of light around him, turning slowly, endlessly, in perfect rhythm. But from here, all you see is Jupiter's gentle glow, steady and patient. Its light feels different from the stars, deeper, more grounded, like something that listens rather than sings. As the night deepens, the three of them, Mars, Venus, and Jupiter, seem to form a quiet pattern across the sky, as though they are speaking in light. They have no voices, yet they tell the story of motion and time. The stars around them shimmer and shift, but the planets remain calm, like thoughts that do not fade. Imagine ancient travelers long ago, crossing this same desert with nothing but the sky to guide them. They knew these lights. They trusted them. Mars with its reddish glow, marking the path of the season. Venus, rising before dawn, a sign of morning's approach. Jupiter, grand and unchanging, holding its place like a beacon of safety. To those travelers, the planets were more than lights. They were friends, silent companions through the vastness of sand and time. The cool air moved gently over you as you watch them now. The wind carries a faint hum, like a distant memory of all who once looked up from this same place. The planets continue to shine, not rushing, not fading. They have no need for hurry. They move through the heavens with the patience of eternity. Their light falls across the desert softly. It touches the dunes, the rocks, and the thin blades of grass that tremble in the wind. The surface of the sand catches a glow, scattering it faintly, like dust made of gold and silver. For a moment, it feels as if the planets themselves are breathing with the earth. You look up once more, and your gaze drifts between them. Mars glowing red, Venus white and pure, Jupiter golden and calm. They seem to hang in balance, like notes in a song too quiet to hear. Around them, the stars twinkle and shift, but these three remain serene, unmoving, eternal. The night continues, slow and wide. The planets keep their steady light. They do not call attention to themselves. They simply exist, silent, sure, content. And as you watch them, Something inside you feels the same, a stillness that spreads softly through your chest, a quiet strength that needs no words. The universe above holds its peace, and the desert below listens. Between them, you find yourself resting in the same silence, part of the same rhythm, the same calm. Now, let yourself drift deeper into rest and sleep. Midnight settles over the desert like a slow, deep breath. The air is cool and perfectly still, and the horizon, that soft line between sand and sky, begins to fade. The edge of the world disappears, melting into the darkness until you can no longer tell where the earth ends or where the heavens begin. It feels as if you are floating between both, held lightly in the calm of night. The dunes stretch out forever, but they no longer seem solid. The moonlight touches their curves, then slips away, leaving soft shadows that blend into the sky. Everything looks infinite, seamless, a quiet ocean made of air and sand. Even the wind has grown too tired to move. Only the stars continue to shimmer, steady and patient, their light falling over the sleeping desert like a promise that the world is still here, still breathing. If you look carefully toward the far distance, you can sense the shape of the earth itself. The horizon does not end sharply. It bends, curves, flows. It is a gentle curve of a planet turning under your feet, vast and slow. The desert is so wide, so open, that you can almost feel the roundness of the earth beneath you, the way it cradles everything, the way it holds life quietly in its arms. You are part of that curve, part of that slow movement, spinning softly through space while the stars remain still above. It's easy to forget that you are standing on a world that moves. But hey, in this perfect silence, you can almost feel it, the faintest sense of motion, the steady rotation that carries night toward morning. The earth turns gently, smoothly, with a grace too subtle to notice in the noise of day. Yet now, surrounded by calm, the movement feels like a lullaby. The world rocks you slowly, like a cradle made of time and air. Above you, the stars stretch endlessly, scattered across the deep black sky. Their distance is impossible to measure, yet they feel close, as if they are leaning down to watch over the desert. They do not flicker as sharply now. The air is cool completely, and the night is clear. Their light feels still, eternal. It falls over the dunes, touching the sand with silver edges, glinting on the faint ripples that the wind left behind earlier. The horizon glows faintly with that silver light, though you cannot see its end. It's a boundary made only by your eyes, an illusion of distance that fades the longer you look. The desert seems to merge with the stars, the earth blending into the universe until the two are one. You could walk forever in any direction and never find a line, only softness, only space. You breathe in slowly, and the air feels cool and wide, as if it has come from nowhere and everywhere all at once. The sand beneath you is cool now, smooth against your palms. The world feels quiet, patient, infinite. You realize there is nothing to reach for, nothing to change. Just this perfect moment where the earth curves gently beneath the stars, and you are small but safe upon it. In that stillness, you can feel what it means to belong, not to a place or a moment, but to the vastness itself, to the sky, the dunes, the round turning of the planet beneath you. The silence is not empty, it is full of peace. The stars above seem to sway slightly, but it is the earth that moves, carrying you through space with the tenderness of a mother rocking her child. The desert horizon glows one last time before midnight deepens completely. The curve of the world holds you steady, and the night wraps you in quiet. The universe hums softly in the distance, endless and kind. Now, let yourself drift deeper into rest and sleep. Long before cities filled the earth with light, when the stars were the only map, people crossed these same sands. They moved quietly, their shapes small against the endless horizon, their hearts guided by the constellations above. The desert was vast, silent, and unmarked, yet they never felt lost. The sky was their compass, and the stars were old friends who always showed the way. At night, they would rest beside small fires that flickered like the constellations reflected on earth. Camels knelt in the cool sand, the air carrying the faint smell of smoke and wind. Above them, Orion rose, his belt pointing west. The travelers would trace the lines between stars, whispering their names, not as astronomers, but as storytellers. Each star had a meaning, each glow a memory. The Milky Way stretched above like a river of light, and they called it many names, A heavenly road, a bridge of souls, a path made by those who came before. To them, it wasn't distant. It was part of their journey. They believed that as long as it shone, no traveler would ever be truly alone. Science tells us now that those same stars have been shining for millions of years. Their light began its journey long before those travelers walked this earth, crossing the cold emptiness of space to reach human eyes. When those men and women looked up, they were seeing history, the same beams of starlight that still touch your face tonight. The desert hasn't changed, and neither have the stars. Only time has passed, slow and patient. Imagine them now, moving in silence under the same sky you see above. Their footprints, long since swept away by the wind, once marked these dunes. They followed the curve of the stars, using their rise and fall to tell direction. When the North Star held steady above the horizon, they knew which way home lay. When the crescent moon tilted, they read the turning of the season. Every flicker of light had meaning. The desert, to them, was not empty. It was full of signs. Their stories traveled with them, passed from one fire to another, one generation to the next. They spoke of gods and spirits that lived in the sky, of stars that watched over lovers separated by distance, of constellations that protected caravans through the dark. These tales were not just myths. They were memories carried in words, woven into the rhythm of walking and resting, until night became familiar as breath. Sometimes they would stop in the middle of their journey and sit in the cool sand, their faces turned upward. The silence around them was the same one you hear now. The stars looked down the same way they do tonight, endless, unmoving, eternal. The travelers would feel small, but not afraid. The world was big, yes, but also kind. It gave them a map written in light. You can still imagine their voices in the wind, soft and low, blending with the hum of the night. Their words might have faded, but the stories remain, written not in books, but in starlight. The constellations they named still hang in the same places, still watching, still waiting. Science explains the stars as burning spheres of gas, vast, bright, distant. But perhaps those travelers understood something deeper, that knowledge and wonder are the same thing, seen from different sides. They looked up and saw not just science, but connection, proof that even in the emptiest places, there's light to follow. Now, when you lie here under the same sky, you become part of that same story. The desert stretches before you, the stars above, the earth curving gently beneath your body. You are both traveler and witness, moving through time the way they did, guided by light that has traveled across eternity just to reach this moment. The horizon is dark now, the fire of memory fading into the cool breath of night. But the stars remain, bright and kind, carrying the stories of all who came before. The desert holds them like secrets, whispering them into the silence so it will never be lost. Now, let yourself drift deeper into rest and sleep. When night settles deepest and even the wind has gone still, the birds of the desert rest. They find quiet corners beneath thorny shrubs or the cool shade of cliffs. Some nestle in small hollows of sand, others tuck themselves into cracks of rock where the air stays calm. Their feathers blend with the earth, soft grays and pale browns made to disappear under the moonlight. The desert that once shimmered with heat now feels cool and safe. The stars above shine like distant guardians while these tiny lives close their eyes and drift. Their wings fold neatly against their bodies, each movement gentle and practiced. They have flown far through the long hours of daylight, searching for seeds, for shade, for water. Now, in this still hour, their work is done. Inside their small bodies, the rhythm slows. Their hearts, which beat so quickly in flight, begin to rest. What once pulsed like drums now moves in soft, steady waves. Each heartbeat grows lighter, calmer, saving energy for the day to come. Even their breathing softens, slow and quiet, matching the rhythm of the desert's breath. Science calls this rest a form of conservation, the way small creatures learn to survive by slowing down when the world turns cool and silent. The air around them holds warmth from a day, but not enough to disturb their sleep. A faint breeze brushes the feathers of a sparrow hiding beneath a dry bush. Its chest rises and falls so gently that even the sand beneath it barely stays. The night is kind to them, still enough to listen, soft enough to protect. Under a rocky ledge, a pair of nightjars rest side by side, their patterns blending perfectly with stone. They do not build nests. They simply trust the earth to hold them. Their wide eyes, so alert in the dusk, are closed now. They dream in short bursts of flight, of twilight skies, of cool air sliding beneath their wings. The desert keeps their dreams safe. Above, on a ledge touched by moonlight, a small owl watches the horizon. Its eyes, golden and round, blink slowly. Soon, it too will sleep, folding its wings around its body like a blanket. Its breathing evens out, and it leans slightly forward as if the night itself is holding it. The sound of its heartbeat, strong and measured, fades into the rhythm of the dark. Everywhere, across dunes and stones, the birds sleep, tiny hearts slowing, tiny breaths quieting. They trust the stillness, for they know it well. Even in this harsh land, they have found comfort, safety, and peace. The world that seemed endless by day now feels small and protective, wrapped in darkness like a soft shell. The stars shimmer faintly above them, their light falling over feathers and leaves. The desert hums its low, constant tone, not silence, but a lullaby of distance and time. In that hum, the birds rest deeply, their dreams featherlight, their bodies weightless. If you could walk among them now, you would not wish to speak. The peace of their rest would hold you still. The desert feels alive in its quiet, breathing slowly, like a heart that beats in sleep. And as the cool air touches your skin, you understand what they feel, that sleep is not only rest, but trust. To close your eyes beneath the vast open sky and know you are safe. The birds know it. The desert knows it. And now, so do you. Now, let yourself drift deeper into rest and sleep. Light moves through the universe like a whisper. It travels across distances so wide that even time must slow to watch it pass. Each beam, each shimmer, begins as something small, a photon, a particle of light, lighter than air, smaller than thought, yet carrying the story of stars within it. A photon is born when an atom exhales energy. Somewhere deep inside a star, far beyond the reach of eyes or sound, heat and pressure create these tiny sparks. They begin their long journey there, pushed outward by the star's breath, racing through layers of fire until they reach the open dark. Once free, they travel forever, through silence, through cold, through endless space, until they meet something that listens, like the earth, or the sand, or you. The light you see above tonight began its journey long ago. Some of it has been traveling for hundreds, even thousands of years. Each photon has crossed the vast emptiness of space without slowing, without stopping, moving in perfect stillness at the speed of light, a motion that never fades, a song that never ends. Science says that light moves in waves, though these waves are invisible, too fine for eyes to see. They ripple through the dark like soft threads, weaving patterns that carry warmth, color, and energy. Each wave is both gentle and infinite, bending, curving, reaching. When it touches something, the curve of a dune, the wing of a bird, your open hand, it becomes visible, turning from silence into glow. The stars send out these invisible waves in every direction, endless streams of photons spilling through space. They do not rush. They do not tire. They move in rhythm, perfectly balanced, perfectly still, yet always in motion. When one of them reaches the earth, it brings with it the memory of the place it came from, the color of its star, the warmth of its fire, the age of its light. Some photons have traveled from stars so distant that their home may already be gone. The light you see tonight might be all that remains, a message from a place that once burned bright. And yet, here it is, touching your eyes, turning into sight, becoming part of your own memory. The universe speaks through this quiet exchange. The stars send whispers, and you, without knowing, are always listening. In the desert, that light feels softer, more personal. The air is clear, and the space between earth and sky feels thin. Starlight slides across the dunes like silk. Moonlight falls in long silver waves, painting the sand and stone. Even the faint glow of faraway galaxies reaches here, unbroken, pure. Each photon that lands upon the desert has crossed an ocean of silence just to rest on this still ground. If you could see the world in slow motion, you would watch the light move, not like lines or beams, but like ripples spreading through invisible water. Each wave curves and bends around what it touches. It fills the air, the sand, the empty sky. It surrounds you always, whether you see it or not. The warmth you feel on your skin, the silver shine on the dunes, the faint blue around the stars, all of it is a gentle language of light. Light does not shout. It never demands to be seen. It waits to be received, patient and kind. Its journey is long, yet it never loses its strength. Even a single photon, the smallest piece of all, carries the power to cross eternity and still arrive intact. Soft, pure, unchanged. The desert listens to light in its own way. The grains of sand reflect it back to the stars, scattering tiny glimmers into the night. Each reflection is a conversation between sky and earth, between fire and dust. The stars send their light down. The sand answers with shimmer. It is the oldest dialogue in existence, spoken not in sound, but in radiance. And you, lying here beneath that quiet sky, are part of it too. The photons touch your skin, travel through your eyes, and become part of your mind. What you see becomes what you remember, and what you remember becomes light again, carried as warmth, as calm, as understanding. The universe is not silent after all. It hums softly, endlessly, through every beam, every shimmer, every glow. The stars sing in invisible waves, and their song has no end. Now, let yourself drift deeper into rest and sleep above the desert, where the air is thin and the night is clear. The Milky Way drifts across the sky like a pale river made of light. It arches from one horizon to the other, soft and glowing, a band of silver dust flowing endlessly over the sleeping dunes. The stars inside it shimmer so close together that they blur into a single gentle brightness, as if someone had brushed light across the darkness with a tender hand. The desert lies silent beneath this vast celestial sea. The dunes, smooth and endless, seem to reflect the heavens, each curve of sand glowing faintly under the starlight, echoing the waves of the sky above. The two worlds mirror each other perfectly, the dunes like frozen ripples of gold, and the Milky Way like ripples of light, both shaped by invisible winds. You cannot tell where the earth ends and the heavens begin. When you look up at the Milky Way from the desert, it feels impossibly close, like you could reach out and touch it, like the stars might rest gently against your fingertips. Yet what you see is something far older and farther than imagination can hold. The Milky Way is not a single thing, but billions upon billions of suns, each one shining with its own warmth, its own story, its own time. Together, their light blends into a single river that crosses the night sky, the way countless grains of sand make a dune, or countless drops of water make an ocean. Every star within that glowing band is another sun, some young and bright, others old and fading. Many are planets circling them, world perhaps as silent and waiting as this desert beneath your feet. The light from those stars began its journey long before you were born, before the first cities, before the first stories, before human memory itself. It has been traveling through space for tens of thousands of years, crossing the emptiness between galaxies, to arrive here tonight, above this quiet sea of sand. You are seeing the past made visible, light that began before time as you know it. Some of those stars no longer exist. Their light is all that remains, still moving forward, still telling their story to anyone who looks up. The Milky Way is a memory of the universe itself, written not in words, but in light. In ancient nights, travelers crossing the same desert looked to the Milky Way for guidance. They called it many names: the Sky River, the Road of Souls, the Bridge of Heaven. They saw in its glow a path home, a promise of direction when all else was dark. They followed its curve across the sky the way you might follow the curve of a dune, knowing it would always lead somewhere safe. The light above them was the same light that shines on you now. The same gentle band of stars, unchanged across thousands of years, still offering comfort to anyone who needs it. If you listen, though no sound will reach your ears, you might almost hear it, the silent hum of the galaxy spinning slowly around its heart. Our sun, our world, this desert, all of it drifts within that grand spiral, turning quietly through space. The Milky Way does not rush. It moves with patience, circling once every 200 million years. Every star, every planet, every dust grain of existence keeps time in that slow dance, bound together by gravity and grace. The science of it is simple, but the feeling is vast. You are part of that same galaxy, not beneath it, but within it. The stars above are not looking down at you. They are surrounding you, embracing you. The Milky Way does not float across the sky. It carries you along with it. You are riding through its light, through its motion, through its eternal calm. The desert seems to understand this. Its silence mirrors the stillness of space. The sand does not move unless the wind tells it to. The stars do not shine unless the darkness asks them to. Everything rests in balance, earth and sky, silence and light. Even the faintest grains of sand sparkle under starlight, as if the Milky Way has dropped pieces of itself onto the ground. The longer you look, the more you see, tiny details hidden within the glow. Faint dark patches cut across the band, clouds of dust and gas that block the light behind them. Those clouds are not empty, they are the birthplaces of stars. Inside them, new suns are forming, quietly gathering energy, preparing to shine. The Milky Way is not just ancient, it is alive, constantly making light even as it remembers its past. You can feel that same rhythm inside yourself, the balance of stillness and creation, of quiet and warmth. Just as a galaxy holds both darkness and light, you hold both rest and life. The stars above and the breath within you are made of the same elements, the same stardust that once burned in the heart of distant suns. You are not looking at the galaxy, you are part of it. The desert sleeps beneath that bright band of light, wrapped in its glow like a child under a blanket. The stars continue to burn, their light washing gently across the earth. The air is cool, the horizon soft, the sky infinite. The Milky Way arches overhead, ancient, luminous, endless, a river of time flowing quietly through the night. You breathe, slow and easy, under its watchful shimmer. The galaxy turns, the earth turns, the dunes rest. Everything is in motion, yet everything is still. And in that balance, peace finds you. Now, let yourself drift deeper into rest and sleep. At night, when the stars rise high and the air cools to silver, the desert begins to dream. It is a quiet dream, one made of memory, motion, and breath. The dunes, asleep beneath the moon, shift ever so slightly, whispering to one another in soft waves of sand. Each grain carries a story from the day, the path of a bird, the trace of a traveler, the mark of the wind that passed like a gentle hand. The desert does not rest away living things do. It never truly stops moving. Even in sleep, it sighs. The air drifts lightly over the dunes, and they respond, sliding just enough to change shape, not to wake, but to turn in their slumber. Their curves stretch and smooth under the pale glow of the moon, reshaping themselves in silence. If you listen carefully, you might almost hear it, a slow, deep hum, the sound of sand shifting across sand. It is the earth breathing, soft and low. The dunes speak to one another through this movement, not in words, but in rhythm. One slides, another follows, a chain of small motion spreading across miles. The whole desert moves as if it were alive, caught in a slow tide. The wind is its dream maker. During the day, the wind dances fiercely, shaping and carving the sand with energy and light. But at night, when the heat is gone and the air cools, it becomes gentle. It drifts between the ridges, touching the dunes with soft fingers, reminding them of what was. Each wave of sand remembers the rush of the storm, the warmth of the sun, the sound of footsteps that once crossed its surface. In its dreams, the desert plays these memories back, smoothing them into peace. The moonlight deepens the illusion. It paints the dunes in shades of silver and blue, the shadows shifting as the sand moves. From afar, it looks like the surface of the sea, calm, endless, breathing. The dunes rise and fall like waves frozen in time, but in truth, they are never still. The desert drifts through its sleep the way the ocean drifts through its tides, slow and steady, bound to a rhythm older than life itself. The grains of sand that form these dunes are ancient, broken pieces of mountains, carried by time, by water, by wind. They have traveled across ages to gather here, forming shapes that look temporary but last for centuries. At night, they rest together under the stars, pressed close like sleeping bodies. They shimmer faintly, glowing in the moonlight, as if dreaming of the sun that will return tomorrow. In the deep silence of midnight, you can almost feel the desert thinking. It dreams not in pictures, but in motion, slow waves of shifting sand, a memory of movement held in stillness. It remembers the morning when the light was golden, the heat that shimmered above its surface, the wings that cast small shadows as they passed. But now, all of that fades into calm. The desert breathes slower. Its pulse softens. It sinks into the kind of peace that only timeless things can know. Above it, the stars shimmer faintly, their light brushing across the dunes like a lullaby. The Milky Way stretches overhead, a river of white flowing through the sky, its reflection mirrored in the shapes of the sand below. The two seem to speak in harmony, the sky moving through time, the earth moving through memory. The desert does not dream of change. It dreams of balance, of the winds that shape it, the heat that feeds it, the stillness that completes it. It dreams of being endless, patient, and whole. And as it dreams, it invites you to do the same, to drift, to rest, to let your thoughts move softly like sand in the wind. Now, let yourself drift deeper into rest and sleep. By the time dawn begins to stir, the desert has already started its quiet work of forgetting. The footprints that once marked the sand, from travelers, birds, or wandering animals, have begun to soften, blur, and fade. The wind moves gently across the dunes, brushing the surface like a hand smoothing a blanket. Little by little, the edges of each print melt back into the sand until no trace remains. The desert returns to its perfect stillness, untouched and whole again. The wind does not rush or force. It moves patiently, grain by grain, whispering as it passes. Each tiny motion lifts a bit of sand, carries it a few inches, then lets it fall again. What was once a clear path becomes a ripple, a wave, a shape without memory. It is not erasure and cruelty. It is healing. The desert knows that to survive, it must release the day before. Every night, it smooths away the marks of what has been, preparing itself to welcome the light once more. When the morning comes, the dunes will look new again. The sun will rise on an untouched world, when not even a single footprint tells of the night before. It feels like rebirth, as though the desert begins each day fresh, unburdened by the stories that walked upon it. This is its secret rhythm, to let go as easily as it receives. There is something comforting in that, something deeply human. Every step we take leaves a mark somewhere, a moment, a word, a trace of thought or feeling. But like the desert, life teaches us that not every mark must remain. The winds of time and change move through us too, softening the sharp edges, smoothing the surface. What feels permanent often isn't. What feels lost sometimes only rests beneath the sand, waiting for light to find it again. The science of it is simple, but the poetry lies in what it means. The desert surface is made of fine, dry particles, small enough to be carried by the faintest breath of air. The wind reshapes the dunes constantly, creating new patterns as it erases old ones. Over time, these movements make the desert appear alive, always forming, always dissolving. It is a living lesson in impermanence, in how beauty can exist even in things that do not last. At night, when the stars are high, footprints seem to hold their shape beneath the moonlight. You can see them clearly. The prints of small birds, the smooth tracks of lizards, perhaps the deep impression of a traveler's step. But by morning, the wind will have moved across them, leaving only soft waves where they once were. The desert has no need to remember. It simply begins again. Sometimes the act of letting go is not loss, but peace. The desert does not mourn the vanished path. It trusts that new steps will come with the dawn. In that way, it teaches the simplest truth, that nothing stays, yet nothing truly disappears. The stories of the past remain hidden within the sand, reshaped, retold by the wind in ways only the earth understands. As the first light of morning spreads across the dunes, you can almost see the last traces vanish. The world is smooth again, unmarked, beautiful in its emptiness. It feels like an invitation to begin again, to walk forward without the weight of yesterday. The wind sighs once more and then grows still. The desert glows faintly under the rising sun, calm and open, ready to be touched again by new footprints, new stories, new light. Now, let yourself drift deeper into rest and sleep. The long night begins to loosen its hold. Far away, at the very edge of the world, a faint light stays, not bright yet, not sharp, but soft and gray, like a memory returning. The stars, which have burned all night in perfect stillness, start to fade one by one. Their light does not vanish. It simply melts into the coming dawn, blending into a pale sky that grows slowly, quietly, with every breath. The desert feels this change before it sees it. The air, which was cool and still, begins to shift. A faint warmth drifts upward from beneath the sand, the memory of sunlight returning. The wind carries new scents, dust, stone, and the faint sweetness of dry plants waking in the distance. The world feels different, as if it is inhaling after a long sleep. The horizon glows faintly now, a thin line of silver blue stretching endlessly from one side of the desert to the other. It is so soft you might miss it if you blink, but it is there, the first whisper of day. The dunes, once only shapes in the dark, begin to reveal their true forms again. Their curls catch the light, first in gray, then in pale gold, each ridge and hollow appearing like waves rising from a quiet ocean. The stars continue to fade, retreating higher, gentler, as if bowing to the sun. Even the Milky Way, which hung so bright and close through the night, begins to dissolve. Its silver path softens until it is only a faint trace of brightness. The sky turns from black to deep blue, then to a kind of soft indigo that carries promise. The color spreads slowly, as though time itself is waking, stretching, unhurried and patient. Somewhere in the distance, a bird calls, a single note that breaks the silence like a sigh. Another answers, then another. The desert, which had been holding its breath all night, begins to move again. Tiny creatures stir beneath the shrubs. The first insect clicks softly, testing the air. It is still cool, but the warmth is coming, subtle and sure. The earth tilts toward the sun, and everything waits for that moment when light will finally touch the horizon. There is something sacred in this pause, the space between night and day, between stillness and motion. The sky glows brighter now, washed with faint hues of violet, pink, and gold. The air seems to shimmer before the sun even rises. Every dune holds its shadow a little longer, every ridge catches a little more light. It is as if the desert is waking slowly, stretching its limbs under a blanket of color. The temperature begins to rise, but only by degrees, a tender warmth that first touches your skin, then settles deeper. The wind changes direction, moving more firmly now, bringing the promise of heat. Yet for this moment, it is perfect, cool and warm, dark and light, balanced at the edge of both worlds. Time feels different here. It doesn't rush. It unfolds like silk, smooth, quiet, endless. The stars above have not disappeared completely. They have only stepped back, giving the sky to the coming sun. Their light still travels through space, still shines far beyond what your eyes can see. But for now, the earth belongs to dawn. You can feel it coming, not as brightness yet, but as presence. The horizon glows wider, the colors deepen, and the faint hum of the world grows louder. The birds are fully awake now. The desert breathes again. The dunes hold their golden edges ready for the touch of sunlight. And then, for a long, suspended moment, everything pauses. The wind, the light, the sound, all hold still, as if the universe is waiting for a heartbeat. Then, slowly, the first light of day spills over the horizon. It stretches across the desert like a quiet hand reaching through time. The stars are gone now, the night folded away behind the curve of the earth. Warmth spreads softly, patiently, filling the air with the promise of a new beginning. The desert glows again, alive and golden. The long night has passed, leaving behind only calm, memory, and peace. Now, let yourself drift deeper into rest and sleep. The first colors of morning bloom quietly across the desert sky. The sun has not yet climbed high, but its light has already begun to travel, bending gently through the air. It begins far beyond the horizon, a stream of golden energy passing through layers of the atmosphere, scattering into colors like a slow, silent rainbow. At first, the sky is pale and delicate, soft blues mingling with faint pinks, the kind that seem too light to belong to the earth. The light is cool, not yet hot, spreading in a tender glow that touches everything it finds. The air, still holding the coolness of the night, feels alive again. Slowly, the dunes shift in color. What was silver under the moon becomes soft rose, then amber, then faint gold. The desert wakes in silence, bathed in warmth that feels more like kindness than heat. Science tells us that sunlight bends when it enters the Earth's atmosphere. The air acts like a great, gentle filter. Blue light scatters first, spreading wide and soft, painting the sky above with calm color. Red and orange travel farther, slipping low across the dunes and cliffs, glowing in the horizon's curve. This is why mornings are filled with such quiet beauty, because light does not come all at once, but arrives in waves, touching each layer of air differently. You can almost see it happening, how the light stretches, bends, and breaks apart as it moves. Every grain of sand catches a glimmer of it. The shadows on the dunes soften and then vanish. The rocks that were gray just moments ago begin to blush with warmth. Even the smallest pebble seems to hold a spark of sunlight, like a memory awakened after sleep. The desert feels lighter now, but still calm. The heat that will come later has not yet begun to rise. For this brief moment, the world is balanced, half night, half day, full of promise but without demand. The light does not rush. It moves slowly, evenly, wrapping the earth in a glow that feels both new and ancient. The sky deepens into color as the sun climbs higher. Pale pink becomes coral, coral turns orange, and then to gold. Each shift happens so gently you hardly notice until suddenly the world is bright again. The sun's rays, bent and scattered by the air, reach your skin in a soft warmth, not burning, not harsh, but comforting. The sand beneath you, once cool from the night, begins to warm slightly, radiating that heat upward in small waves. Everywhere, life begins to move again. A bird stays beneath a bush, shaking its feathers. A beetle crawls out from a shadow. The first thin breeze drifts through, carrying the scent of sunlit earth. It feels as if everything that has been waiting through the long hours of darkness now begins to breathe again. If you look up, the sky is no longer violet or silver. It is blue, wide and endless, the color of distance and peace. That blue comes from the scattering of light too, tiny air particles sending waves of blue across the sky more easily than the heavier reds. It is a dance of particles and light, a conversation between air and fire. And yet, though the science is simple, the sight feels like magic. The desert seems to shimmer now, not with heat, but with light itself. The colors of dawn have passed, leaving behind a quiet brightness that spreads across the horizon. The world has returned to warmth, but in a gentle way, slow, deliberate, kind. The sand glows gold, the air hums faintly, and everything feels new again. The light has finished its journey from the sun to the earth, scattered and softened by the miles it traveled. What reaches you now is not just brightness, but peace, light that has learned to be gentle by the time it arrives. You breathe it in, feeling it touch your face, your hands, your heart. The day has begun, but it begins softly, patiently, as if it knows you are still half dreaming. The night's cool silence lingers just enough to make the morning feel tender. And as the sun climbs higher, you feel the warmth spread around you, not as a rush, but as a quiet rising. The desert is awake again, full of color, full of calm. Time begins to move, but the peace remains. Now, let yourself drift deeper into rest and sleep. As the first warmth of morning begins to return, life in the desert moves again, but not forward, not in haste. It circles softly, like a breath completing itself. The night creatures who ruled the cool darkness now retreat, their rhythms folding back into rest. Beneath a pale rock, a snake slides quietly toward its burrow. Its body glides over the sand, smooth and silent, leaving only the faintest trace before the wind covers it. The snake has felt the first touch of sunlight, the promise of heat returning, and knows it is time to hide. Deep within the earth, the air stays cool and still. There, it will coil upon itself, motionless, heartbeat slow, waiting until the night returns. Nearby, a small desert fox pads softly between the dunes. Its paws make no sound, its fur still touched with the chill of darkness. The stars are gone now, the moon sinking low. It pauses once, listening to the last whisper of the wind, then slips beneath the shade of a rocky ridge. Soon, it will curl up in its den, tail wrapped around its face, sleeping through the blaze that is soon to come. Tiny beetles that glimmered under starlight now scurry toward the cool shadows of shrubs. They bury themselves in the soft sand or beneath the roots of dry plants. Their glossy shells, which shone like drops of ink beneath the moon, dull in the growing light. They too have finished their wandering. The night was their time, the hours when the desert belonged to them alone. Even the smallest creatures follow this rhythm. The mice, the lizards, the owls, all have felt the change in the air. The desert speaks through its warmth, and they understand. As the temperature rises, Each one finds a place to disappear, vanishing as easily as dreams dissolve at dawn. The cycle is ancient, patient, unbroken. Life here does not fight the heat, it moves with it. When the sun climbs, the desert rests. When the sun fades, it awakens again. This is how everything survives, by yielding, by flowing with time instead of against it. The world grows brighter now. The dunes shimmer faintly, their edges catching the light. The last of the night shadows slip away. For a moment, the air feels balanced, still cool but warming, as if the desert itself is inhaling. You can almost sense the rhythm beneath it all, the slowing hearts, the fading sounds, the return to silence. It is a circular song, one that never ends. Day folds into night, and night into day. Life hides, then returns. The desert breathes in, then out. Soon, only the wind will remain, gliding over the sand in long, slow waves. It will erase the tracks, carry away the scent of the creatures who have gone to sleep, and begin preparing the land for the brightness ahead. The sun climbs a little higher, and the warmth spreads further. But the desert is not empty, it only rests. Beneath the dunes and stones, life curls inward, waiting. The same hearts that race beneath the stars now beat softly underground, steady and calm. The rhythm continues, gentle and circular, as it always has. The desert, the sun, and every small heartbeat move together, breathing, pausing, dreaming, one endless pattern of light and rest. Now, let yourself drift deeper into rest and sleep. The mind, like the desert, finds peace and stillness. When the world grows quiet, when the noise of thought and worry fades into the background, something deep inside begins to settle. The desert teaches us without words. Its silence isn't empty, it's alive. It's the kind of quiet that allows the mind to breathe, to rest, to return to its natural rhythm. As you sit in the calm of early morning, the stillness begins to move through you. The rush of thoughts that once crowded your mind slows down, one by one, like footsteps fading into the sand. The brain, which has worked tirelessly through the day, analyzing, remembering, reacting, finally finds permission to pause. The gentle rhythm of your breathing becomes the only sound that matters. Each inhale cool and deep, each exhale long and soft. Inside your head, this quiet is a shape. Scientists call it alpha waves, the slow, steady rhythm your brain creates when you are calm but awake, drifting between awareness and rest. These waves rise like gentle tides, washing through your thoughts, easing tension, softening edges. In this state, the mind is not asleep, yet it is far from busy. It is simply resting, open and light, like the surface of a still lake under moonlight. When alpha waves flow, the body listens. The heartbeat steadies, muscles unclench. Breathing becomes deeper without effort. The nervous system eases from alertness into balance, as if someone has turned down the volume of the world. Even the mind's inner voice grows quieter. Words turn into images. Thoughts drift into sensations. You are no longer solving, comparing, or remembering. You are simply being. This is what peace feels like at its simplest level, the moment when nothing must be done, and the brain finally trusts that it can rest. It's not the silence of emptiness, but the silence of harmony. In this quiet, the brain begins to heal itself. It organizes memories, sorts feelings, resets its patterns. The calm you feel is not just emotional, it is biological, a soft, natural rhythm written deep into who you are. The desert mirrors this perfectly. It does not force its quiet upon you, it simply invites you into it. There are no walls, no clocks, no boundaries here, just endless space that gives the mind room to stretch. The horizon goes on forever, and so does your thought, until it finally dissolves into openness. The stillness of the desert and the stillness of the mind are not separate things. They reflect one another, each showing how rest is not the absence of life, but its gentlest form. When you breathe deeply, your body joins that rhythm. The air enters slowly, cool and calm. Your chest rises, then falls. Your shoulders soften. The breath moves through you like the wind moves through the dunes, effortless, circular, eternal. With every exhale, you release something small, a worry, a memory, a word that no longer matters. With every inhale, you take in calm. It's a natural exchange, a quiet balancing of inner weather. The thoughts that come now are lighter. They no longer push or pull. They drift in, stay for a moment, and drift out again, leaving no trace. Like footprints on sand, they are smoothed away by the breath. There is no need to hold or chase them. The mind knows when to let go. If you could see your own brain in this moment, it would glow softly, its energy flowing evenly through calm pathways. No storms of tension, no flashes of fear, only gentle waves, steady and soothing. This is what the brain was built to do, to find quiet, to restore itself, to drift between thought and silence until balance returns. In the calm of the desert, your mind becomes part of that ancient rhythm. The silence outside becomes silence inside. Every breath feels like sand shifting, every pause like moonlight touching the dunes. You are not separate from the stillness, you are inside it. And for now, there is nothing to do, nothing to fix, nothing to remember, only to rest. Now, let yourself drift deeper into rest and sleep. Sleep begins like a tide returning to shore, slow, gentle, steady. It arrives not as command but as an invitation, whispering to every cell, every thought, every quiet part of you that it is time to rest. The desert understands this rhythm well. Just as the dunes soften under the moon and the wind grows still, your body too begins its nightly surrender, falling back into balance with a deep rhythm of life. As you close your eyes, your breathing becomes slow and even. The body loosens. The heart slows its pace. The mind, which has carried the weight of the day, begins to release its grip. This is the first doorway of sleep, the crossing from wakefulness into peace. In the soft waves of brain activity, the faster frequencies of alertness fade away, and slower rhythms rise to take their place. Scientists call them theta and delta waves, patterns of calm that ripple gently through the brain like the quiet movement of sand beneath shallow water. When these waves begin to flow, the world inside you changes. Muscles rest, temperature drops slightly, and the nervous system switches from effort to repair. Your body, which worked tirelessly through the day, moving, thinking, feeling, now turns inward. It begins to heal itself in silence. Cells repair. The immune system strengthens. Hormones rebalance. It is a kind of invisible maintenance, a nightly renewal that happens while you drift in dreams. As sleep deepens, you move into what scientists call slow-wave sleep, the purest rest the body knows. In this stage, the brain's slow waves move together in perfect rhythm, as if every cell is breathing at the same pace. The pulse of your heart matches the flow of your breath. Your muscles go still. Your mind enters a deep, dreamless calm, where time feels weightless and memory begins to weave itself back together. In this quiet space, the brain sorts through the day's experiences, deciding what to keep, what to let go, and what to store as wisdom for tomorrow. When the brain begins to dream, another kind of wave appears, faster, lighter, more fluid. These are called REM waves, short for rapid eye movement. The body rests still, but the mind awakens into another landscape, a place where imagination and memory meet. Hey, your thoughts take shape as stories. Feelings become symbols. The mind plays freely, reorganizing itself through scenes and sensations that don't always make sense, yet somehow bring balance. Dreams are more than fantasy. They are the brain's way of speaking to itself, rehearsing, repairing, reflecting. In them, the hidden parts of your mind come forward, unafraid. A face you miss may appear, a place you've never been may unfold, a feeling you couldn't name in daylight may finally find its shape. Even when you forget the dream by morning, its work remains, subtle, invisible, but real. All through the night, your body moves through these cycles, repeating the pattern of deep rest and dreaming like tides moving between silence and song. Each wave restores something different. One heals the muscles, another clears the mind, another renews emotion. Together, they build harmony between body and thought, between the conscious and the unseen. From the outside, it looks like stillness. But inside, sleep is one of the busiest times of your life. Your heart and brain speak to one another in a slower language. Your cells whisper messages of repair. The brain flushes away the fragments of stress and memory that no longer serve you. Even the smallest parts of you, the cells in your skin, the neurons in your mind, are working gently, in rhythm with the night. The science of it is beautiful, but the feeling is even more so. To To sleep is to return to nature's oldest rhythm, a rhythm shared by every creature, every landscape, every star that burns and rests. Plants close their leaves. Animals curl into shadow. Even the ocean follows the pull of lunar tides, rising and falling in patterns of rest. You are part of that same pattern, no different, no separate. As the night moves on, your dreams change shape. They grow lighter, more distant, as morning draws near. The body begins to stir, tiny muscles waking, heartbeats quickening. Yet even in this slow return, the calm remains. Sleep leaves behind traces of peace, like footprints in soft sand, reminders that rest is not absence, but connection. The desert knows this truth too. Every night, it sleeps under the stars, cooling, renewing, and waiting for the first light of day. When the sun rises, it wakes without struggle, whole again. Your body is the same, shaped by cycles of light and dark, of action and stillness, of waking and surrender. Sleep does not ask you to escape the world. It asks you to return to it, stronger, clearer, softer. Each night, your body finds its balance again, guided by waves of light and shadow that have existed since time began. Now, as your thoughts slow and your breathing steadies, imagine the quiet rhythm inside your mind, slow waves moving through calm water, dreams drifting like clouds, the night wrapping gently around you. The desert rests, the stars rest, the whole world rests with you. Now, let yourself drift deeper into rest and sleep. Your breath is a quiet tide of your body, the softest rhythm you carry, constant and kind. It moves without thought, rising and falling like waves against the shore, a motion so simple that you almost forget it's there. Yet every breath is a small miracle, a perfect exchange between you and the world. Inhale, and the air enters, cool and invisible. It travels down through the nose, through the windpipe, and into the deep spaces of the lungs. There, inside the tiny folds called alveoli, the air meets your blood. Oxygen, the element of life, slips across the thin walls of those cells, joining the red rivers that move through your veins. With each heartbeat, that oxygen begins its journey through your body, carried to every muscle, every organ, every corner of thought. Exhale, and the body releases what it no longer needs. The air leaves gently, carrying with it carbon dioxide, the quiet byproduct of all your living work. Every cell has used the oxygen you gave it, turning it into energy, and now it exhales through you, just as you exhale through the world. It is a perfect balance. The earth breathes out what you breathe in, and you breathe out what the earth breathes in. Nothing wasted, nothing forced. Just an eternal exchange, as natural as light passing through air. When you breathe slowly, you can feel this balance more clearly. The inhale gathers calm, the exhale releases it. The air moves in waves, soft, circular, unbroken. Each breath is like the sea touching the sand, coming forward, then drawing back, leaving peace in its wake. Science explains this as a body's rhythm of gases, but it feels more like music. The oxygen you take in feeds your brain and muscles, giving them quiet strength. The carbon dioxide you release signals to your body that it can rest, that it does not need to hurry. The two are partners in harmony, balancing the energy that flows through you. When you inhale deeply, your heartbeat slows a little. The nervous system listens. The body shifts from tension to calm. This is called a parasympathetic response, the part of you that knows how to rest, how to heal, how to trust stillness. You don't have to think about it. It happens naturally, as long as you give the breath space to move. Try it now. A slow inhale, steady and full. Feel the cool air fill your lungs, spreading calm through your chest. Then a long exhale, soft and complete, letting every bit of air leave without effort. Imagine that each breath carries light inward and peace outward. Each one cleanses, renews, and soothes. The air inside you is the same air that moved through the desert at night, through the dunes and between the stars. It has touched oceans, forests, mountains, every living thing that has ever breathed. You are not separate from it. You are part of its endless journey, one breath in the great rhythm of the earth. With every inhale, you take in life. With every exhale, you give life back. The desert breathes, the sea breathes, and so do you, all sharing the same soft motion, the same invisible tide. Let your breathing slow now, smooth and gentle. Feel it moving in circles, without edges, without effort. The air enters, fills, and leaves again, calm, balanced, eternal. Now, let yourself drift deeper into rest and sleep. Darkness is not the absence of life, it is its shelter. It arrives not to hide the world, but to let it rest. Every evening, as the sun slips away and the horizon fades into shadow, the earth begins its nightly renewal. The air cools, the sounds soften, and the body remembers what it was made to do, to slow down, to recover, to heal. The human body is built to follow this rhythm. Deep inside your brain, in a small space called the pineal gland, lives a quiet keeper of time. When darkness falls, it begins its gentle work, releasing a chemical called melatonin. This tiny messenger tells your body that it's time to rest. It lowers your temperature, eases your heartbeat, and softens your awareness. You begin to yawn, your eyes grow heavy, and your thoughts drift like clouds through a night sky. Light holds the body awake. It tells the brain to stay alert, to keep searching and thinking and doing. But darkness does the opposite. It whispers that you can let go. Without it, the mind never truly stops. The gift of night is not just quiet, it's permission. Permission to pause, to be, to float inside the kind of peace that daylight can't offer. The desert understands this balance better than anywhere. When the sun sets, it transforms completely. The heat fades, the winds calm, and the colors soften into silver and blue. The creatures of the day retreat, and those of the night emerge, guided not by fear but by instinct. The knowledge that darkness is not danger, but rhythm. For them, the night is simply the other half of life. The same is true for you. Darkness is not your enemy, it is your oldest companion. It wraps around you like a soft blanket, not to hide the world, but to hold it close. In this gentle shadow, your senses change. The eyes rest. The ears sharpen to the smallest sounds. The breath deepens, slower, smoother. Your body, freed from the brightness of the day, begins to trust again. Melatonin continues to flow quietly through your bloodstream, carrying calm to every corner of your being. It doesn't force sleep. It guides you there, the way a river guides water to the sea. You begin to drift naturally, as if returning to a place you've always known. The muscles loosen. The mind softens. The heart beats in time with your breath. Science calls it circadian rhythm, the inner clock that connects you to the cycle of light and dark. Every creature on earth follows it, from flowers that close their petals to birds that nestle under wings. Even the ocean listens, rising and falling under the pull of moonlight. You are part of that same rhythm, and the night is what keeps it in tune. The darkness also brings quiet, not just outside, but within. The endless noise of daylight thoughts fades to a whisper. Your mind, no longer flooded by sight and sound, begins to rest in simplicity. In this stillness, the smallest sensations become sacred. The cool air on your skin, the sound of your breathing, the steady pulse beneath your ribs. Everything slows to a perfect, peaceful tempo. If you ever feel uneasy in the dark, remember that the world has always been this way. Every mountain, every sea, every living thing has known the same night. The stars above you have watched over countless evenings just like this one. Their light crosses space to remind you that even in darkness, there's connection. The night is vast, but it is also safe. Hey, in this moment, surrounded by calm, you can feel what nature has always known, that rest is not weakness, but renewal. The darkness does not take you away from life. It brings you closer to it. It lets you pause, recover, and prepare to shine again when the light returns. The desert sleeps beneath the stars, wrapped in its quiet comfort. The creatures rest. The dunes cool. The air hums softly with peace. And you are part of this same calm, carried gently through the dark toward healing and warmth. Now, let yourself drift deeper into rest and sleep. The night begins to soften at its edges. Far beyond the dunes, the faintest silver light begins to touch the horizon, not enough to brighten the desert yet, but enough to change its tone. The air, cool and still, begins to stir again. Somewhere, far off, a single bird calls, a thin, bright note that cuts through the fading darkness. It is not a song of alarm, but a beginning. This is the coming of dawn, the moment when the earth begins to breathe differently. The stars lose their sharpness, the sky grows pale, and warmth begins to seep gently into the air. You can feel it before you see it. The chill that lingered through the night begins to ease. The wind, which whispered softly through the dunes, now carries a hint of sunlight in its scent, a quiet promise that the world is waking. The desert, so still in darkness, begins to change color. The sand glows faintly gray, then pink, then soft gold. Shadows stretch long and thin, like slow-moving memories of the night. The air feels new, filled with invisible movement. Tiny insects stirring, seeds shifting, birds unfolding their wings. The dunes, which looked frozen and endless under the stars, now shimmer as the first rays brush their curves. Light crawls slowly over the land, not rushing, not demanding, but returning like an old friend. Biology joins the beauty of this hour. The warmth on your skin signals your body to wake. The eyes, which rested in darkness, open wider. Deep in your brain, the flow of melatonin fades, while serotonin begins to rise. It is the body's quiet handover, from sleep to waking, from restoration to readiness. Your pulse quickens slightly. Muscles stretch. The lungs draw in deeper air. Everything within you begins to glow with the same golden energy that touches the desert around you. The birds feel it too. Their hearts, tuned to the rhythm of light, begin to flutter with a new day. Some call softly from the cliffs. Others hop between low shrubs, their feathers catching the sun's first warmth. Each note seems to carry the same meaning, that the night is over and life continues. Even the insects hum faintly, moving with the same instinctive grace that has guided them since the beginning of time. The dunes seem to come alive under this light. What was shadow becomes shape, what was silence becomes sound. The wind moves gently, reshaping the sand in slow, graceful waves. The colors shift with every minute. Soft peach deepening into gold, gold turning to bright amber as the sun climbs higher. The desert surface begins to sparkle, each grain catching the light for an instant before releasing it to another. There is warmth now, but it arrives gently. It does not burn or demand. It spreads like kindness, through the air, through the earth, through you. The temperature rises only slightly, just enough to awaken everything it touches. The coolness of the night lingers in the shadows, making the warmth feel even softer, like two worlds balancing in the same breath. For a brief moment, time feels suspended. The night is not completely gone, and the day has not fully arrived. It is the in-between, the edge of light, the meeting of sleep and wakefulness, where everything feels new. You can almost hear the desert's heartbeat in the distance, a pulse that matches your own, slow and steady. The sun finally breaks the horizon. A single golden beam stretches across the dunes, filling the world with a quiet radiance. The air shimmers faintly. Every living thing, from the smallest beetle to the tallest cactus, seems to lean toward that light. The desert begins to hum again, not with words or sound, but with presence.